dramatic reading ever. Twilight Sparkle fixes everything by Between Lines, dramatic reading by Dream Whisper. It was not an average day in Ponyville, because Princess Twilight, the Incredible Sparkle, as her first act upon waking up, had sentenced Average to death. Was that afterthought taken care of before lesser ponies could even think? Twilight, Unstoppable Sparkle, poured herself a bowl of 46 mustangs in vodka with a side of gold-plated diamonds for appropriate roughage. A balanced diet is critical to maintaining full levels of awesome. Prepared for her day, and it was her day, as she'd taken over all celestial duties from Celestia, Luna, and Cadence, even though she didn't have any, Twilight, you know it, Sparkle, kicked down her front door, forcing it to exit from existence, and stepped out into the street. Instantly, all ponies bowed for miles around by combined dint of their instinctive subservience to their true master and the 8.5 Richter earthquakes she sent out with every step. Being infinite in her magnanimity, she waved a hoof and rewarded her subjects with riches and bitches, great supply, for she was Twilight. Get used to it, Sparkle. It was then that her friend, or as close as any non-Sparkle being could come to such a role, Rainbow Dash flew up to her. Normally such an action would have been described in some lesser form of English, such as lowercase, and without reference to Twilight, the true prime Sparkle, but Twilight Flanks of Steel Sparkle has retroactively removed all such inferior structures from existence. "Hi, Twilight," said Rainbow, in her now upgraded full-caps pronunciation, for which she should be and was eternally grateful. "Want to go teach some new tricks?" Twilight smiled, the brilliance of her gesture obliterating the eastern half of Equestria and blinding the sun. "I already have." And Rainbow hovered in awe of Twilight, the one Sparkle's endless wisdom, before flying off to imitate to a lesser degree the tricks that only Twilight, best pony Sparkle, could ever perform. Watching her closest thing to her friend try to match her levels of awesome, Twilight Unparalleled Sparkle shed a single tear, creating a new inland sea. Even though she was so distantly removed from other ponies and their lesser levels of grossly impressive performance, she could still find it within her infinite compassion to sympathize with their inferior and ultimately meaningless plights. Because Twilight, Alpha and Omega Sparkle, was an awesome friend. Having elevated other ponies as far as from their lowly state as was possible for even being of such unmatched glory as herself, Twilight Infinite Sparkle pulled out her checklist. Of course, simply by being noticed by such a being of stupendous sparkleness as Twilight, every single item on the checklist was already resolved upon creation. Still, she completed them again, because that was what normal ponies use checklists for, and it was important to remain humble. With Remain Humble checked off her list, Twilight Sparkle created an improved version of the Spork that actually worked. She dubbed it the Sporkle. She also gave it the ability to cure cancer, poverty, hunger, and lesser culture. The Sporkle then went and held its own press conference and launched its own product line and app campaign. The ad went Sporkle by Twilight, that one Sparkle. It was a runaway success and sold more than anything ever. Done tending to those social obligations she felt inclined to observe as a function of her unquestionable whims, Twilight the Mare Sparkle decided to briefly contemplate her own awesomeness. Of course, by having her own awesomeness complemented by a being such as inherent awesome as herself, her awesome multiplied by a factor of infinity divided by 0. In recognition of this, she grew 4 more wings and promptly caught fire. Her own glorious incandescence, more than enough for ponykind, she then punched out the sun, seeing as it was already blind, and Luna didn't get enough credit. Of course, Twilight the Decider Sparkle was again omniscient and kind in her sweeping decisions, and impregnated Celestia with a sword, so that she would have a new calling in life now that the sun was exploded. Of course, being foals of Twilight Sparkle, they were infinitely better than the sun anyway. Having performed more good than all other ponies in history combined, Twilight flew the Crystal Empire to herself. She then cast a duplication spell and made sweet, sweet love to herself in few wee of Flash Sentry, thus stealing his waifu. She cast another 100 duplication spells so that she could do it again to 200 Flash Sentries. There were 200 because, of course, there were 2 Twilight, like you even need to ask Sparkles. And Twilight, yeah, you do, Sparkle, would never create a duplicate that was anything short of perfect. And Flash Sentry wept, and the world rejoiced. Satisfied with her work today, she lowered herself over the horizon and shoved her half into the moon, turning into a copy of herself as well, so Equestria never suffered the bane of an inferior celestial body. Realizing that there were 3 of her now, and only 2 heavenly bodies, Twilight Undefined Sparkle decreed that the third would serve as the purpose of Moon, a new astronomical body so awesome only Twilight's Moon Sparkle could have conceived of it. And it was good. Stark silence filled the room, aside from the frothy gurgling of one particular lavender pony. Only 2 others dared stand close enough to watch over the twitching princess, one a dark grey mane, the other an unforgettable pink. "Pinkie Pie?" Octavia asked, her voice working slowly through the words. "Where exactly did you get the ingredients for your cake?" "Oh, well, with the flour shortage and the ban and the rum, I really had time baking a rum cake. I knew Winnow had lots of rum, though, so I sneaked over and took her favorite rum." She grinned broadly. "I knew it was her favorite because she named it. Pur's kind of a weird name, though." But that was okay, because she even had flour, too. But for some reason she kept it in a tiny plastic bag with a razor. Pinkie paused for a moment. "It's really a strange pony." Octavia wasn't listening. She was too busy calling poison control. "Okay, 2 things to say. So the story has finished now, so you can quit if you want. 2 things to say about this. Like, the first thing is you can't read it with caps lock on. Like, I had to do it in another document where I removed all the caps lock because it was hard to read with caps lock on. You can't even imagine it. Like, every dot that marks the end of the sentence, every punctuation just is completely obliterated by the magnitude of all letters. So Twilight the Unstoppable Sparkle, has done a great job on making her own text unreadable. That made the sense of having Twilight say lowercase being a lower form of English kind of stupid to me, but you didn't see if the text was uppercase or lowercase, so you didn't care. It's really split into parts. Like, the first part is Twilight ranting about how awesome she is, and after that you get to know why she rants about it. And I got to say, I only disliked one part, and the one part I disliked is when her awesomeness is multiplied by a factor of infinity divided by 0. Though everyone knows that dividing by 0 does not multiply by another infinity, but instead creates a black hole which sucks up all inevitably. That being said, Twilight is of such magnitude that she pierces through other dimensions, making her immovable to the black hole that she created through existing. But then again, you have to consider that all her such suspects are then sucked into the black hole. So either she doesn't create the black hole, or she decides to remove the rules of time and space, so the black hole doesn't suck in her subjects anymore, or she decides that she just creates new subjects in another dimension, which is all possible. But the author should have clarified that one. So that was my dramatic reading, and I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.